the things that I find really exciting and interesting about learning a new piece, brand new piece like this, is that you have to figure it out all by yourself.
Yeah.
Almost everything else that we play, to a large extent, I mean, you say, well, my teacher told me to do this fingering, or I saw somebody do that bowing, or I have a recording and they did it like this, and I went to a concert and they did it like that. So, in a way, a lot of the figuring out really has been done for you, and you try and do it for yourself.
Right.
But the fact is that it's in your mind already, what you've seen and heard from other people. But with a brand new piece, there's none of that.
There's nothing.
You cannot hope for any help from any quarter. You have to figure it out all by yourself, and I think it's good to exercise those creative and interpretive muscles every now and then.
Right.
Because after all, at a certain point, I mean, somebody played a Brahms symphony that no one had ever heard before. Someone played a Beethoven quartet that no one had ever heard before, and they had to figure it out. And so we're kind of joining that great tradition when we play these new pieces.
And also, Vahn and I, being that this is a world premiere, we're going to basically set that standard, I guess, for future violin and viola works down the road. I
actually talked to a guy who's going to be playing it later. There's part of a consortium in the commissioning process. And he asked me how it was coming. At that point, I still didn't have the second and third movements. This was like in August. And I said, well, you know, the part that I have is, it looks like it's going to be okay. And so, and yes, he was, you know, he'll be listening to my recording. And
right.
So I'll be that person that people are looking to and maybe discarding. We'll see.
Yeah. What I have found with this work, Vahn and I, about, I guess it's been maybe 10 years, did the Symphonia Concertante by Mozart, which is the, you know, everyone knows that.
Yeah, that's the gold standard.
Yes, gold standard. What I'm finding is how he uses the range, at least of the viola. He really has me in a very high range, which I'm not as comfortable with. I'll just say that out loud on wherever this is going to be. But it is very challenging, and how he uses that color with the violin color, I'm finding very, very interesting as well.
Well, yes, it does seem to be, we have both of the parts in our music. So.
Yeah.
And I look at your part and I see it's pretty high.
That helps, actually, you know, having his part there so that I can see how my part works with him. You know, which that's helping me a lot, actually.
So it's very, I have this something that I found on the internet.
Oh boy,
actually Amanda found
it's in the internet. It's
so it must be true.
Okay.
From Ranjbaran, and he says that my new concerto, did you see this?
No.
My new concerto for violin, viola, and orchestra is an exploration of the relationship between two people, soloists, with the society they live in, the orchestra.
Okay.
It is a complex relationship that often evokes feelings of profound affection, to envy and rivalry, as well as joy, seduction, humor, and gallantry. At times, the soloists reveal the uncorrupted innocence in each and every one of us, contrasting with the harsher reality of the orchestra.
Ooh.
Now see, when we first get this part, like you, I'm thinking, okay, up bow or down bow?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's also interesting to work with living composers, because you know, we get so caught up in our musician technical issues. Up or down bow, what fingering, what string to play, how to use the bow, how fast to go, and this or that or the other thing, and we really get wrapped up in that stuff. And Beethoven's not around to tell us to knock it off.
Right.
You know, but Ranjbaran is here, and he writes something like this, and he says, guys, it's not about up bow and down bow, okay? You know, it's about more than that.
Musical phrasing.
And so, and it's not even just about music, but it's about life.
Yeah.
And that sort of reminds you that, oh yeah, those Brahms symphonies are really about life too.
As well.
So we got to kind of broaden our outlook a little bit. I think that's true for audiences as well.
Yes.
You get used to hearing things that you know, they're familiar, and you have a familiar response to them. And you may sort of there can be more.
Right.
Even to these very familiar pieces.
Yes, absolutely.
They can really resonate in much deeper ways if you approach them with imagination.
Yes. His second movement, I believe, is just the two solo instruments and strings, and I think that's going to make a very intimate setting there. Any winds or brass with us at that time. First and third movement have a lot going. It's like winds and part extended part, but so I'm very, very interested to hear all three movements, but in particular the solo and concerto.
And I think there's quite a bit of percussion.
Yes, actually, I think the third movement has percussion.
I haven't actually seen tour.
No, we haven't.
But we hear
It's
rumors.
coming. It's coming.
We hear rumors that there's a lot of percussion.
Yes.
And also the guitar part.
Yes, very hard.
Rumor that we heard.
Hard.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the part yet.
No.
Now, see, this is very interesting because as part of the Greek tradition, I mean, Beethoven's Violin Concerto was not, the soloist did not get the part until the day before the premiere. Imagine playing Beethoven's Violin Concerto one day later. You know?
I can't.
So, I mean, this is the way it is sometimes.
Yeah.
And we hear all these stories about overtures to operas being composed the night before and these premieres, ink still wet on the pen. It's the way it is with premieres, but still it creates a little time pressure there.
Yes. Very, very tense. I think Barb is a little tense. Yeah, we got like maybe 21 days to
But who's counting?
But who's counting days? Hours and minutes at the point.
Well, from my looking at the piece, you know, we talked about this Mozart Symphony Concerto. I think that it shares a lot in common with that. Anytime you're going to have two soloists, you got to figure out what to do with them, you know. And what tends to happen is this thing that's called concertante style, which means that one person plays a thing and the next person plays a thing. And they sort of, you know, play it in their own little way, and then they'll come together at certain points. But there's a lot of this back and forth.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's true of the Symphony Concertante as well. And even some of the musical figurations, remind me a little bit of things that are in that Mozart Symphony Concertante.
Yes.
And he must know it very well. He's a violinist as well.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say sometimes he'll like have the violin do a phrase, and then I'll answer, and then I'll do a phrase and answer. But then he'll maybe have him do something that's completely unrelated to what I've done, and I'm thinking, okay, that's really cool there, and then I'll play something totally unrelated to him. So that always makes it very interesting as well.
Now the other thing about it is he's Iranian, isn't he?
I think so. I don't want to say for sure.
So every now and then there's a little Mid East augmented second thing.
Middle Eastern.
Yeah. We got a little
tones in there for sure.
Yeah. So that's definitely different from the Mozart Symphony Concerto. Yeah. And I'm really interested actually to hear this percussion. I can't wait to see what that's going to bring to it. I think it's going to be kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
So we'll see how it goes. I mean, we still really don't know.
We don't know. As Vahn and I work this next week coming up, we will begin to kind of sort out, just go measure by measure, and see how things kind of line up for us.
Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to this. It's very, very challenging, and I always like to be maybe pushed a little bit past my, limit here. So.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
Okay.